Well, hello and welcome to a new video where we are going to take a look at the performance of the Nvidia RTX 5000 laptop variant. So the 90-watt variant here in the benchmark steel Nomad from 3DMark, which is one of the latest, or I think it's actually the latest graphical benchmark that you can use there. And this one is a fairly intensive one, so it should stress out our GPU basically all the time, I hope, and show us just how capable this GPU is. And off we go. And yeah, you can see we're absolutely in the GPU limit, 100%. And since we're almost hitting the 90 watts, I'm rather pleased that we, at least at the moment, are holding the 90-watt limit, which we should be able to reach with this card. And yeah, I can see that it's definitely also clocking a little bit lower than what I see in most of the games. Even at 100% utilization, you usually see around 14 to 1500 megahertz here. And that obviously shows just how intensive this benchmark is, because the lower your GPU clocks at 100% utilization, that really speaks for the intensity of the video which it has to render at the moment. And yeah, you can see it's obviously our GPU which is completely limiting the system. Our CPU there has basically nothing to do. And yeah, let's look at the result here. And we can see 1856 points. So I actually have no comparison benchmark to that, so I really don't know if it's good or bad. And obviously you can see this is a rather rare card, which you don't see that often. So yeah, take that for what it is. But I'm gonna go ahead and go with the times by benchmark, which actually is a benchmark that I do know because I've benchmarked quite a lot of GPUs on this one, so I can compare it to, or I can compare the score to other graphics cards and other systems which I currently or had owned before this one here. So yeah, let's see just how well this one run in this one. And I'm pretty sure that it should deliver us around 8,000 points. I mean, if you get the fully fledged version of this card, you should get around 10 to 12,000 points in times by, because it really is a professional version of the 2080 Super of the laptop version. And if you get it with 150 watts, something like that, TGP, then it should definitely perform very, very well. So yeah, let's see just how well this is going to run here. And obviously you could get potentially higher benchmark scores by deactivating the MSI Afterburner overlay here, as well as closing something like the Epic Games Launcher, which I do have open in the background. But I really don't think that's necessary here. So I can gladly lose these few points in order to be able to see what's going on with the card. And yeah, as you can see right now, our GPU clock is also higher than it was with the Steel Nomad benchmark, which really shows you that even though we're at 100% utilization again, this one is not as hard to render as the Steel Nomad benchmark was. And that is obviously the very reason why they did release the new benchmark here. You can also see that we're not always in the GPU limit for some reason, which I find really odd because I don't think this one is, at least the first scenes here should be very CPU intensive or dependent on the CPU, which you can also see by the fact that we're only drawing 5 watts on our i7 here. But yeah, very interesting to me. And also you can see we have 2 graphical benchmarks here, and the last one will be a CPU benchmark. So the last one really doesn't matter too much for us here. I mean, if you want to see the performance of an i7-10875H, so an 8-core 16-thread CPU, which is capped at 55 watts, or I think 50, no, was it 55? Something like 50 or 55 watts, which I have in the short-term power limit, and I think 40 limits is my long-term power limit on the CPU. So you won't really get the full performance anyways of this i7, but it should be plenty enough for basically every game that you can play on for the RTX 5000 in order to utilize this in order to utilize the GPU as much as possible. But then again, the i7 really runs at over 100 degrees if you would just let it run wild and freely in this laptop without any constraints. So that's the reason really why I've put these power limits in place, because I value longevity of my laptops over the and lower noise over the few more FPS which you actually will maybe see if your CPU is actually allowed to run at 60, 70, or even 90 watts. But yeah, I'm very curious to find out what score we will get here. I mean, since this is the 90 watt variant and we're really around the 90 watt limit all the time, I would think that we will really get around the 8,000 points here. So that should be in the yeah, it just should be possible for this GPU to reach that. Even though I do think we probably will clock in lower than what you can see and expect from a 2080 Super, because the GPUs which have actually the gaming drivers available to them should perform slightly better than the professional versions of them. And yeah, this one here obviously is the CPU test now, so it is nothing to do with the GPU anymore, and you can not really expect anything of value for the RTX 5000 from this last one. But yeah, looking at the result, and I was dead on, I guess. We really have not a bad score here. I mean, you can see the average, which was a little bit lower than what we have, and you can see that the best score definitely was a bit higher than what we got. But yeah, all in all, I'm pretty happy with what this card has delivered here. And you also see that we do have a very stable performance here. So yeah, all in all, definitely a very nice experience here with this card. And I could show you all the different things that we can expect here, but then again, you will also see all of this in me playing and showcasing the games. So yeah,